In the frigid void of the cosmos, survival without shielding is unthinkable, not to mention the reality that even on adjacent celestial bodies, the circumstances are lethally extreme. Every world within our stellar neighborhood presents a distinct and terrifying method for an unsheltered person to perish. Today's voyage is both enigmatic and instructive, as we inhabit the form of a theoretical, somewhat reckless voyager and uncover what the ultimate instance of existence might resemble on each globe. Today, we'll traverse the scorching daylight of Mercury, the oppressive inferno of Venus, the smothering chill of Mars, the profound abysses of the gaseous Titans, Jupiter and Saturn, and the icy tempestuous heavens of Uranus and Neptune. Each domain unveils its own ghastly as we voyage through these infernal territories, recall unlike them, Earth is an uncommon sanctuary where life flourishes. So, let's commence with the innermost orb, where daybreak erupts in a sphere of flame and stillness. Mercury. Your initial perception would be a surge of warmth across your attire and form. Even with insulation, cooling apparatuses would be overpowered almost immediately. Absent solar illumination, readings plunge to -290. The vista offers no sanctuary, merely a grey, lunar-like expanse of stone and hollows, baking beneath solar beams. Mercury's feeble gravitational pull might impart a sensation of lightness, but the thermal onslaught would be intolerably oppressive. It resembles entering a kill. Within seconds, your lungs would heave futilely, and your sight would haze as your cerebrum is deprived of oxygen. You'd succumb within 10 seconds, scorched and asphyxiating. Diurnal surface readings climbed to 800 Fahrenheit, sufficient to liquefy lead. Essentially, no envelope of air exists to scatter solar rays or provide defense, so stellar radiation assaults with full intensity. Alighting on Mercury's illuminated face, an astronaut would endure severe warmth and powerful ultraviolet exposure instantaneously. All uncovered epidermis would start to char and swell. The vacuum-like setting signifies no breathable air and no medium to convey warmth. Your silhouette upon the ground would be knife-edge precise. The firmament remains obsidian, even at midday, since no gases exist to diffuse the illumination. Within this near emptiness, the dampness on your tongue and within your eyes would start to vaporize, a chilling echo of open cosmic conditions. Mercury. We initiate with Mercury. Here, the undiluted radiance of the sun singes the terrain. Within moments, disastrous hypothermia and suffocation would transpire. Yet, despite such severe extremes, if positioned on Mercury's unlit hemisphere, you'd succumb to colder stark divergence. Venus. Now, we proceed to Venus. Its milieu is frequently depicted as the nearest equivalent to literal damnation. The gaseous shroud here is immensely compact, approximately 92 times the density of Earth's, akin to submersion nearly 1 mile beneath the ocean. The atmosphere is a noxious concoction of carbon dioxide, interlaced with vapors of sulfuric acid. You might glimpse the desolate, stony topography before the haze envelops everything in dense fog. The very air is venomous, saturated with CO and nitrogen, utterly bereft of breathable oxygen. Upon touchdown, an individual would be simultaneously pulverized and incinerated. The density squeezes your frame with potency adequate to buckle steel plate. All gaseous pockets within your lungs and sinuses would be violently compressed. Concurrently, the prodigious heat sears your tissue. Hydration, vaporizes, and vital organs commence failure within seconds. The caustic air also harbors beads of sulfuric acid, though. Peculiarly, you won't be saturated in acidic precipitation on Venus. The acid vaporizes prior to reaching the terrain in a phenomenon termed virga. Still, this offers scant solace. The ambient thermal energy is so fierce that even sans acid, proximate metals glow a faint crimson. Surface readings approach 873 Fahrenheit paradox. Mercury's heat, despite greater solar distance, merely existing on Venus signifies confronting warmth capable of dissolving lead and zinc, and force potent enough to crumple a submersible. The crushing mass renders motion inconceivable. Your knees falter, your physique compresses, bones fracture under the colossal strain. It feels akin to an elephant standing upon every square inch of your being. The toxic, superheated air infiltrating your lungs sears them internally. Less than a heartbeat following exposure, consciousness would vanish. Your form, if somehow enduring, would be eroded and cremated into Venus's stony crust. This is deceased via complete environmental inundation pressure, heat, an acid collaborating to eradicate every vestige of human presence. Descending through Venus's dense cloud canopy, sunlight morphs into a spectral orange luminance. Within instants, your helmet's visor would soften and dissolve, and all exposed skin would carbonize. Mars, soaring past our Asia refuge, we arrive upon Mars. The crimson sphere may appear alluring relative to Venus, yet an unshielded human still confronts a silent, suffocating demise here. The Martian gaseous layer is exceedingly sparse, less than 1% of Earth's and comprised chiefly of carbon dioxide. Essentially, it verges on emptiness. There exists virtually no oxygen for respiration, and the atmospheric density is so minimal that liquid moisture would instantaneously vaporize. Readings are also intensely low, averaging roughly -76 Fahrenheit, yet fluctuating from a temperate 68 Fahrenheit at midday to a gelid -220 Fahrenheit nocturnally. Standing upon the rust-tinted granules of Mars devoid of a pressure garment, the initial observation would be the sky a foggy, tawny hue and the horizon dusted crimson. You wouldn't perceive wind in your auditory canals. After fleeting seconds, the true peril manifests. You cannot draw respiration. Unsealing your mouth to inhale yields nothing due to the deficient atmospheric force. The saliva upon your tongue and hydration within your pulmonary cavities commence boiling, a gelid yet painless sibilant sensation internally. You sense during contracting. Oxygen deprivation initiates swiftly. You possess roughly 15 to 20 seconds preceding unconsciousness. Within that interval, your physique also commences heat depletion. The Martian air is so thin it poorly conducts warmth, yet the vaporization of moisture from your ocular organs and lungs generates a potent chilling consequence. Any exposed integument rapidly registers profound fatigue. Your visual field constricts and dims as your cerebrum exhausts oxygen. You might perceive a prickling sensation as vascular structures rupture under the pressure differential, or detect a faint ferrous temps as capillaries burst. After approximately 30 seconds, you'd succumb to unconsciousness from hypoxia. Soon thereafter, you'd perish tranquilly within the brutal chill of this scarlet orb. Your cadaver would undergo sublimation. In such minimal pressure, your blood boils and your corporeal warmth plummets. The frozen wasteland of Mars efficiently desiccates your remnants. The coroner's pronouncement, suffocation and ebb, yet, contrasted with immolation, this demise could nearly be termed serene. Perhaps Mars was more hospitable eons prior, but present it is an acropolis for the ill-prepared, a locale where the fundamental act of respiration transforms into unendurable agony. Jupiter, proceeding to the outer stellar neighborhood, you inquire, what might alighting upon a gaseous colossus resemble? Plunging into Jupiter parallels, descending into a planetary chasm. This leviathan possesses no tangible exterior. What seems a surface from the void is merely the apex of its cloud strata. Entering Jupiter's gaseous envelope, you dive into a domain of monumental tempests and pulverizing force. You sink deeper, and the force escalates at a profundity of approximately 30 miles. The pressure already surpasses Earth's manifold times. Proceed further, and it becomes scores of times greater. Thunder is supplanted by an all-encompassing cacophony of wind and atmospheric tumult. The thermal reading ascends concurrently from roughly -100 Fahrenheit in the superior vapors to significantly beyond the vaporization threshold. As you descend, your defenseless physique is ensnared between compression and thermal energy. The air acquires the consistency of water, treating you not as a parachutist, but akin to a bathysphere occupant. The upper strata appear deceptively placid. Pastel bands of orange, ivory, and scarlet drift beneath, and you savor a transient instant of free descent beneath the one solar radiance. Within the gloomy luminance, lightning abruptly illuminates the firmament. Jupiter's electrical discharges can triple the luminosity of terrestrial bolts, fleetingly revealing the murky clouds. At 10 to 20 atmospheres, human tissue compresses and pulmonary chambers implode. Any vacant spaces within your anatomosinuses, auditory canals rupture beneath the tension. As the surrounding gas thickens, your corpus is condensed into an even lesser bulk. Presently, the cosmos is utterly lightless. Sunlight cannot penetrate this profundity. Solar illumination emanates from sporadic lightning bolts and the spectral luminescence of distant electrical discharges. Passing Saturn, one cannot evade captivation by its stately rings, innumerable icy motes, scintillating in the sunlight, girding the globe in expansive bands. Yet this awe-inspiring vista masks a mortal hazard. Distant from the Sun, Saturn is an intensely glacial realm, with readings at its cloud summits approximating -288 Fahrenheit. Should you infiltrate the planet's gaseous sheath, your destiny would parallel Jupiter's. Ultimately, you'd be pulverized by the gelid, dense hydrogen and helium fog. Your icy structure starts fracturing as the compression ascends into the hundreds of atmospheres. Vicious zephyrs dismember your physique. Ultimately, the amalgamation of pressure, thermal energy, and physical duress atomizes you. Your molecules assimilate into Jupiter's immense envelope, long preceding contact with any semblance of a foundation. Contemplate this. Even automata endure hardship, survive in Jupiter. What prospect exists for humans? The Galileo probe, which penetrated the planet's envelope, was annihilated by its force and heat. For a human, no expectation remains save entire dissolution within the abdomen of the solar system's paramount planet, Saturn. Our expedition advances towards Jupiter's junior sibling, Saturn. Our expedition advances towards Jupiter's junior sibling. Passing Saturn, one cannot evade captivation by its stately rings, innumerable icy motes, scintillating in the sunlight, girding the globe in expansive bands. Yet this awe-inspiring vista masks a mortal hazard. Distant from the Sun, Saturn is an intensely glacial realm, with readings at its cloud summits approximating -288 Fahrenheit. Should you infiltrate the planet's gaseous sheath, your destiny would parallel Jupiter's. Ultimately, you'd be pulverized by the gelid, dense hydrogen and helium fog. Uranus, the seventh sphere, Uranus, often designated an ice titan, and justifiably so. It claims the distinction for the coldest planetary envelope within our solar system. Readings in the superior strata can plummet to 49 Kelvin, nearing absolute nullity. An unguarded human here confronts near-instantaneous solidification. The atmosphere contains zero oxygen, constituted primarily of hydrogen and helium, with traces of methane imparting the globe its aquamarine green tint. Likely, clouds of ammonia and hydrogen sulfide also exist, highly toxic. While Uranus lacks the annihilating compression of Jupiter or Saturn at its cloud peaks, the gaseous pressure still intensifies with depth, eventually exceeding Earth's. Yet concern is unnecessary. You'll have expired long before pressure manifests as an issue. The principal executioners on Uranus are frigidity, toxic atmosphere, and wind astonishingly rapid zephyrs, attaining velocities up to 560 miles per hour in certain zones. Picture a freezing hurricane fashioned from poisonous vapor, descending through Uranus's superior envelope. Solar radiance becomes scarcely discernible. The Sun, a minuscule, remote dot. You're enveloped in a pallid. The thermal reading plummets precipitously, almost instantaneously. All moisture upon your physique and within your ocular organs, nasal passages, and oral cavity. A slender stratum of rime forms upon your helmet visor's interior. A solitary respiration of the planet's air could prove fatal. Your physique would convulse from oxygen lack and concurrent intoxication. Within instants, you'd lose awareness from hypoxia. If, by some marvel, consciousness lingered marginally longer, the cold would penetrate profoundly. Death transpires in under 60 seconds. Your form would persist, descending until escalating pressure shattered it into myriad glacial shards. Descending into Neptune's superior atmospheric strata, you might discern a colossal tempest structure, perhaps the renowned Great Shadowy Patch once witnessed by Voyager 2. Almost immediately, you're engulfed by terrifying gusts. The slender, superior air swiftly densifies as you sink, and the hyperstorm collides with you at full might. The winds surpass Mach 1, advancing at sonic speed. Under these circumstances, the air itself transmutes into an abrasive implement. Minute-frozen methane particles become projectiles, fragmenting everything in their trajectory. You're hurled like a cloth doll, defenseless within the storm's clutch, spinning erratic. All orientation vanishes. The cold lacerates through you, yet the trauma from the wind might outstrip the sensation of freezing it, at least within Neptune's superior strata. Pressure isn't instantly lethal. You retain awareness marginally longer than upon Jupiter, but the savagery of the milieu swiftly terminates that. Within seconds, any shielding is annihilated. Bare integument encounters hypersonic, glacial air. Your dermis is stripped away, your tissue abraded to osseous matter by crystalline ice. Ultimately, your remains disseminate throughout Neptune's infinite tempest. Finally, after traversing the multitudinous lethal domains of the solar system, we revert to the sole locale that has ever embraced us. After confronting the mortal extremes of other orbs, Earth abruptly resembles a tender sanctuary and, indeed, it is the consummate realm for human existence. Here, the atmosphere furnishes ideal pressure, a respirable amalgam of oxygen and nitrogen, and a temperate clime. We possess liquid aqua that doesn't instantaneously vaporize, a shielding ozone stratum guarding us from harsh stellar radiation, and thermal readings predominantly residing within our physique's viable spectrum, standing upon Earth's crust beneath tepid sunshine and cerulean heavens. You can respire profoundly and relish a nascent day. It's revealing that on every alternative globe we toured within this conceptual trial, decease was nearly instantaneous, while here, life not only persists, but prospers. The juxtaposition is profound and humbling. A mild zephyr, warm sunlight, and coursing acropon earthes are endowments from a cosmos otherwise inconceivably hostile. Thus, the next occasion you venture outdoors and perceive air replenishing your pulmonary chambers, recollect just how extraordinary that authentically is.